Oh my god. All right. I take back everything I just said.
I'm a gremlin. You know what I'm saying?
On this episode of the MacGuffin Guild, we're going to travel to our crazy aunt's country home in House, also known as Hausu. This 1977 Japanese horror comedy starring Kumiko Ikegami, Miki Jingo, and Kumiko Ohba, among others. Directed by Nobuhiko Obayashi. We're going to talk about the film's connection to Jaws, using humor to cope with unimaginable horror, naked swimming, and the Zolly shot. We'll discuss the secret of filmmaking and how rules are made to be broken, as well as the atomic bomb and its devastating impact. We'll talk about flying heads, biting butts, naughty jaws, and vomit water, as well as the original concept of the unmade 16th Godzilla film and diabetes. We'll also discuss what you would do to stay alive. I'm Pat Dougherty, and as always, I'll be joined by my fellow MacGuffins, Justin Jones and Mike Antonio. Our theme song was written and performed by Jordan Vincent. House is calling you to come back home, so gather up your friends and return to House, also known as Hausu.
You better than this.
All right, welcome to another episode of the MacGuffin Guild. I am Pat Dougherty, and as always, I am here with my fellow MacGuffins. First and foremost, I have Justin Jones over there on the computer, the recording doohickey. How you doing, Justin?
I'm fabulous.
Good. I'm very glad. Very glad you're doing fabulous.
We call that throwback.
You look fabulous.
Thanks.
You do.
I'm also here with the one and thankfully only Mike Antonio.
I just want to know why I'm second and aftmost instead of first and foremost.
Is that the word, aftmost?
Fore and aft. No, those are ship terms. He's the foredeck. I'm the aft.
Why do I always have to be on the starboard side?
Yeah. You're just that kind of fella. So how are you doing, Mike?
Pretty good.
Good. So today's film that we're getting into is the 1977 Japanese film, correct?
Yes.
House. Or how is it also
Hausu?
Hausu. Mm-hmm. Which is that, explain that to me, Justin. Is that like, the title is intended to be House?
Yeah, the way I understand it is that they specifically wanted a foreign title, which is House. But I think with the way it was explained to me is like a lot, even in like Japanese culture, when they're saying American words are always like a different way of saying it. So they would still say Hausu. Like even when they say some of the names in the movie, like even though they're all like, you know, English words or something, there's still like not an accent, but there's a it's just said a slightly different. Yeah. So I think
So House or Hausu, 1977, hour and 28 minutes long. To give a brief little... Who is making body noises?
It's my pen.
What?
It was like down here. Oh, my
your pen needs some Beano.
Mike is all worked up, gassy, just squeaking and groaning.
Shoving my pen in my balls.
Oh my God. Anyway... So here's a brief little synopsis here. House is a hallucinatory head trip about a schoolgirl who travels with 6 classmates to her ailing aunt's creaky country home and comes face to face with evil spirits, a demonic house cat, a bloodthirsty piano, and other ghoulish visions. Equally absurd and nightmarish, House might have been beamed to Earth from some other planet. So, let's get into Rotten Tomatoes as we normally do at this stage in the podcast game.
I'm curious about this.
This is extremely interesting to me.
Okay.
So, Rotten Tomatoes on the tomato meter. House surprisingly has... Who wants to guess?
Did already see that critics did not like this movie.
Okay.
However, I don't know how that changed over time. I think the critics is probably still pretty low.
I'm going to say critics under 50.
Yeah. Audience above.
Over 50.
Yeah.
All right. On the tomato meter, 90%.
What the friggy Friday?
And
Sounds about right.
That's critics.
That's critics?
And then audience
that's
score.
critics?
That's critics.
Wow.
Audience score, what do you think?
87.
Justin?
Wow, I was way off the first one.
Yeah, I know. That's
the same thing. I'll say noises. 95. picked a number.
80%.
Oh, wow, okay.
80%.
I was closest without going over.
And that's based
Shit.
on 3,093 user ratings.
Well, damn.
80%.
Wow.
That's but I can't believe the critics is that high, because I saw that initially critics were not kind to this movie, but that might have been before it was released here, maybe.
Yeah, I think well, here's the thing. I think originally when it came out over 40 years ago, it was a whole different situation. Now, the people who are reviewing it now are probably the ones that got, like, after the American release, what was it, like 2009 or something? I think it was then found and re-released to American audiences. Where at that point, it's like a bunch of film nerds finding it anyway.
Oh, so this was not released to American audiences right away?
No,
I don't
it was like
think so,
way
no.
later, I think.
Yeah, I think it was released in Japan in 77, and then audiences loved it. Critics hated it.
Right.
And then I don't think it actually made it to the United States until I think it was like 2009 or something.
2009-ish, yeah.
and
2009, 2010.
So I did read something.
probably some film circuit or something.
I did, and the director is Nobuhiko Obayashi. I'm sure my pronunciation is a little off there, but Nobuhiko Obayashi is the director, and I did read something briefly that said he was inspired by the film Jaws.
I saw that too.
and he wanted to make something in that vein, which I think if he was going for Jaws, he missed a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's a little off.
But
I don't think it was him that wanted to make a Jaws movie. I think Toho wanted to make a Jaws.
It was
because
Toho.
they saw the popularity of Jaws.
And they approached him.
Yeah.
And is that what they did?
I can't remember if they approached him. Or either way, like they wanted to make it, so they put this project out. We want to make Jaws, because I don't think he was initially allowed to make the movie because he wasn't like he wasn't an employee of Toho. So, but then after I think he penned the script, and people can fact check this, please. I think after he penned the script and people read it, no director would touch it because they figured it would end their career.
I saw that, and then he ended up directing it himself.
Yeah, and then,
eventually.
And then Toho was like, all right, you do it. And he's like, all right. Because I think, which here leads me to a quote I thought was awesome. I got off of Wikipedia. It says, Toho was tired of losing money on comprehensive films and were ready to let Obayashi direct the house script, which they felt was incomprehensible. Which I thought,
so they were just like, you know what, F it. We're just going to completely go the other direction.
yeah, you got to do something.
Yeah, why are we overthinking this stuff if it's still shitting the bed?
Yeah.
So let's just try the other thing.
Yeah, let's go bananas.
Hey.
That was totally
What, did you both say bananas?
No,
but he
bananas
mentioned,
come up
he
later.
mentioned bananas. That's relevant to the film.
Oh, got it. Okay. I thought it reminded you of work. So anyway.
Is it banana head?
Yeah. So Ranger reviews here. You want positives or negatives first?
Give me one positive and then one negative.
Yeah, let's go back and forth.
You want to go back and
Yeah,
forth?
let's do a volley.
All right. Positive. Now, keep in mind, these can be slightly deceiving based on our past experiences. We've learned that sometimes these excerpts that are pulled from the reviews don't necessarily paint a clear enough picture. But, hey, we're just going to have to be misled, I suppose. So, V.A. Masetto from New York Post says, movies as original as this one don't come along very often, so grab it while you can. Now for a negative. J.R. Jones. This might be Justin Jones. J.R. Jones from Chicago Reader. There's never a dull moment, though I certainly felt dulled by the time it was over.
Yeah, what?
There's never a dull moment.
No, I heard you.
Though I certainly felt dulled
I
by
definitely
the time
heard
it
what he
was
said.
over. All right, I thought you maybe didn't hear me.
I read what you're laying down.
All right, Jeff Shannon from Seattle Times. For connoisseurs of the bizarre, House's revival is long overdue. That's a positive. Negative. Tom Russo, Boston Globe. While there's a dweeby midnight movie inventiveness about the look of all this, there's also an awful lot to forgive artistically or to drunkenly roll with, as the case may be. Again, I think that might be a situation where, don't look for Schindler's List here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's interesting that, like, I don't think any particular review is wrong per se, but yeah, it's definitely like it's not setting out to be something that it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it totally set out to be one thing, and it completely achieved it. So.
I mean, yeah, if you go to a concert to watch, I don't know, let's say Trans-Siberian Orchestra play a show, you expect, you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
If you go to a Slipknot show, you're probably not going to get the same thing that you would potentially get at the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah.
So why
It's
do
going to be
know.
more thematic.
why
I think they're pretty similar.
I mean, maybe, but why do people sometimes, I feel like they think a movie is a movie is a movie?
Yeah.
It's like that's not the case. Like,
yeah.
That's actually part of the reason I like this movie, why I picked it, because I feel like when you go through life and there's certain expectations of what something's supposed to be, and then when you see something that you enjoy, that you legitimately get joy from, that breaks down those walls and everything, I think it's very liberating.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
mean, that's my take on it. So blow it out your ass. Who was that last guy that?
I was waiting. Tom, blow it out your ass, Tom.
Blow it out your ass, Tom.
Right out your
Dweeb.
ass.
You're a dweeb. You dweeb. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure he's a very nice guy.
He's probably pretty nice guy.
God.
Yeah, no.
You'd probably get along with him if you actually were face to
He's
face.
probably one of the few people that listen to this show. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'll do another positive, and then maybe I'll do a
Negative?
fan. Actually, here, let's go to a 3-star fan review.
Okay.
This is Marcus W., a super reviewer. A bizarre experimental kitschy feast for the eyes. The problem is that there's very little going on beneath the surface.
Oh, God, I so disagree with that.
Yeah, I very much disagree
Wow.
with that.
Yeah, and
If anything, I think there's a little too much going on
There's
below
so much going on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
below, like you
Yeah.
said, below the surface in this movie. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, I think, separates it from other, like, when you talk about bizarre movies and stuff like that, historically, when I was younger, I'd be like, that was just, I mean, something just feels weird for the sake of being weird, versus, like, I feel like some people try, like, oh, we're just going to make something weird, but there's no meaning behind it. It was just like, oh, let me see the weirdest thing I can do. Where I feel like here, there was, like, a lot of,
Well, I think it was very experimental,
yeah.
but also intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one more, and then we'll move along.
All right, yeah.
Antonius B., super reviewer,
I hope it's a good review because I really like his name.
says, "Oh my goodness, what a trippy, crazy, cheesy little movie this is. I don't think it has a single scene in it which doesn't have some type of campy, surreal special effect. Early on, it seems like part Wes Anderson, part after-school special, part J-pop, part I don't know, just out there and certainly unique. It gets weirder and weirder as it goes. If you love the bizarre and the downright silly, movies which don't take themselves too seriously and are out to throw wild images at you, you'll probably love this film." It continues, but pretty much,
Yeah, I got a feel for that review.
yeah.
Antonius B coming through. I like it.
Yeah, well, then they go on to say, if you're looking for a ghost story, real drama, or horror, well, this isn't it. You never feel real tension, even as the cute little girls are attacked by mattresses, devoured by a piano, etc., etc. For me, I suppose I fell more in the latter camp, wishing the film had some balance in creating a film about the supernatural, but you can easily see why it has a bit of a cult attraction to it, and your mileage may vary.
That's interesting. I don't know if I did. Like, I was like, that's bullshit. There's definitely tension. I started thinking about it. I was like, I don't know. Maybe I don't really feel like it was tense because there's so much fun.
But
for me
there
that
was
I
a
didn't
lot
like.
of things like it kind of kept me like, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
So I would say that is a form of tension. Like you're like, what's the next scene gonna be like? Because this shit is crazy. What's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
I mean, tension in the traditional like scare format. No, I don't think there's that kind of tension. Like as in it's not. I wouldn't say this movie's scary per se.
Mm-hmm.
No, it did some of the imagery, like when you watch the trailer, some of it's like, oh, this is going to be really gruesome, and then you watch it, and it's like, it's just that balance of like, it's so kind of goofy that I don't know if they kind of complement each other or kind of offset, I don't know, but it's definitely, I didn't feel like it was, the horrifying parts were as horrifying in the trailer.
No.
I like enjoyed them all.
But again, 1977, it might have been scarier to audiences back then.
Yeah, that's
to some extent.
Yeah, which weird, and that's one thing. Again, another thing I like about this is sometimes I like watching movies from other time periods.
Yeah.
And try and put myself in the mind space of where it was going on. Like even The Exorcist, they said people were like passing out in the theater and stuff like that. And I watch, and I still think it's pretty horrifying to this day.
It is.
But I never passed out watching it.
Right.
Maybe once.
Well, and then you have the other factor of it being originally a Japanese audience.
Yeah. Exactly.
In 1977, that was probably a wild trip for them.
Yeah. Yeah, so you try. Yeah, again, I like to try and place myself in other cultures and stuff, see what what they're doing. So.
Yeah, because culturally, their films are much different than American films. I've seen quite a few Asian films in general, not just Japanese.
Yeah.
But and there's definitely a different tone and a different sensibility to those films than an American-made one.
You want to know what I thought and the comparison? And again, I tried desperately because film has evolved so much in our lifetimes. And this film obviously came out before we were here, but
Barely.
it's evolved. Yeah, barely. But it's evolved so much since that what you see in a film now is so horrific compared to what was considered so horrific back then.
Right.
But that said, what this film made me think of is for those audiences, they may have felt the same feelings I would have imagined viewers of Texas Chainsaw Massacre would have felt. In that you have this group of kids who are relatively innocent. And the beginning of the movie, I mean, not so much in Texas Chainsaw, because you know from the opening credits that something pretty funky is going on. From the title, you know kind of what you're getting into. But then they show this crew of kids going on this trip, and it's an innocent trip, and they're, you know, they seem pretty nice and normal and innocent. And then when the bad shit starts happening, it makes the horror that much greater. So I could totally see how this being that case, these were just schoolgirls that were like, oh, you know, their vacation plans kept falling through.
Right.
And they just were trying to find a way where they could all be together and, you know, do something fun. And I could totally see how as shit starts getting weird, for audiences back then, it could have been a bit jarring.
Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe the horror, it might be difficult for us to see now because we're used to, you know, I mean, you watch even a Final Destination movie where some horrific shit happens. It's just like, you know.
Well, and then there's also the fact of like the special effects and stuff like that, you know. To us now, I'm sure some of it was, that movie is intended to have humor, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. But some of the stuff that we laugh at may not have been funny as far as like special effects and stuff. Maybe it was like
when the guy fell down the steps and fell into a bucket and got stuck on his butt.
Yeah, that was
that
weird.
would be pretty horrific.
But you get what I'm saying though. Like to us, it almost seems like that a lot of those special effects and stuff like that are supposed to be funny, but maybe at the time they weren't supposed to be funny per se.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good point. I don't know though. Yeah, it's a good question.
The girls, there were seven of them.
Yeah.
7 of them. And I
love their nicknames.
I have the names, yeah. So do you want to rattle through them, or I got them here if you want me to rattle them off?
Yeah, if you got them right there, go ahead.
We got Fantasy.
Yep.
And Gorgeous. Gorgeous is the main.
Yeah, main character.
Girl.
Yeah.
We have Melody.
Yep.
Kung Fu. Sweet. Mac. And I guess Prof.
Yeah, she's the girl.
Yeah.
She's the girl with the glasses. Yeah.
So you know, they kept saying Prof.
Yeah.
You know, I assume they weren't saying Professor.
Just out of curiosity, did anyone have a favorite?
Yes.
Oh, easily.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure we have the same favorite.
You think?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I think we might. Who? What was yours, Mike? Or you want to save yours for last?
No.
Mike was your, or other Mike. Pat. What was your...
I'll say mine.
Easily Kung Fu.
Yes.
Yeah, Kung Fu.
See, I know.
Yeah,
Holy
hands
shit.
down, Kung Fu is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all cool, but like Kung Fu was like hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she was like kick ass. Like she was like
Yeah.
everything. She was like the
she was
total
like
package.
she took charge.
She had her own theme.
Yes,
she had her own
that's
theme.
that's one thing I want to talk about. That anytime I heard that, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I said to Sarah too as I was hearing it, I was like, do they all have their own theme music and we're just recognizing her? She's like, no, I think she's the only one.
I
with
think
her own
she's the
theme
only
song.
one. Like
Yeah.
it's like her like charge up song.
The only
basically.
other one you could say is Melody kind of adopted the theme of the film.
When she plays
Yeah,
on the
because
piano,
she was
that's a
playing
good
the
point.
But
theme
that
on
wasn't
the
really
piano.
her theme.
Yeah.
though. It was, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like all the characters. They're all very distinct, and their nicknames fit them
Oh,
well.
yeah. I do like towards the end of the film. Well, I guess here we go again. Spoiler alert, but if you haven't watched it, Jesus Christ.
I mean, there's no reason
But,
for
like,
you
yeah.
to listen to this without watching the movie first.
But towards the end of the movie, when it comes down and it's like Prof, I don't know how you say, and Kung Fu, like trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
brains and brawn.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
standing
that's true.
there, like
That's
trying,
true.
like working together, figuring it out. Not that the other ones don't have their place, but like each. And the more I watch it, and I watched a bunch
They all
of
have their
YouTube.
strengths.
There's all kinds of. strengths. Yeah, there's all kinds of YouTube videos on this. I got down to YouTube.
Well, let's not promote
You
those.
went down the rabbit
I will.
hole.
Listen to this one. Listen to this.
Yeah,
When we talk about
I will. Now you should watch them. It's a
I'm
good
just kidding. I'm
community.
kidding.
We're all love each other.
Now, is this something we should be saving for the MacGuffin conversation portion of the...
Let's do that. We'll save it.
Because if
put a pin in it.
if you, any of your concepts, there's two things I can't wait to touch on, but I feel like folks have to wait around for the latter portion of this episode.
Let's touch on your
so we
things
can
first.
really. No. I want to wait. That's what I'm saying. I want to wait to touch on my things.
Oh, I don't know if I can wait.
So
All right, let's go.
you'll have to hang.
I can wait on these.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't want to spoil.
No, it'll be more impactful later.
Okay, so Justin, this was your selection. Mm-hmm. What made you pick this one?
All right, so I already kind of touched on a few things. I like that it kind of challenges your expectations of, what is a movie, what is film, and everything like that. Having to put yourself in the perspective of a different time, a different culture. I like just the bizarre nature of it. I like the experimental nature of it. Like there was like there's certain film techniques which you probably read about that were never done before. I like his attitude. I was watching an interview with him online, and one thing he said, which I thought was really cool and very timely too, was to turn unlucky into lucky is the secret to filmmaking. And he was giving examples about like, say this bad thing happens, and then you could take that bad thing and then there's you could build story from it.
Wow.
And why I say it's timely is because just kind of going through a point in my life where just thinking about like every bad thing that happens is only a bad thing with your perspective. And I read an article recently. I'll try and find it, maybe link to it. It was pretty good about preparing for this long winter when we're already like housebound anyway. And it was about your mentality of like when bad things happen, instead of thinking about the bad in it, thinking about each bad thing as an opportunity to grow. So I thought that was cool. So getting a little lengthy here at my
It's great.
thing. So
I love it.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's fun. Like, it has a little horror element, it has a little comedy, it's fun, it's adventurous. It's like an adventure movie, too, which they never mentioned, I think, because, it's like them almost kind of going on a quest, but it's not like...
Yeah, well, they're going out to the country. They're all like, I guess they're like city girls.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it
schoolgirls.
was a quest. I mean, she's trying to, her mother has passed, and she's trying to
Reconnect with her mother's sister, her
with the
aunt.
aunt.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
Yeah, there's deeper... I feel like there's a deeper emotion that's being, like... I felt like, and basically some of the stuff I read is about him dealing with certain things. And and I love, like, the whole post-World War II effects on things. Because they even talk about, like, the bomb going off. And I think it's really interesting to get people's perspectives that were born around, like, the beginning or end of World War II.
Yeah.
And in these countries, like, even, like, it was probably BS. It's something he made up. But, like, if you guys know Arthur Brown... It was like The Strange World of Arthur Brown. He did that song, I am the god of hellfire.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's a whole story. Like, he would do crazy stuff like light his head on fire on stage and all this. And he said, like, he claims that the hospital he was born in, because he was born during World War II, was like being bombed.
Oh, shit.
At the time as well. And it's all part of his mythos, but it's like the impact of these things on people's lives. And I can't imagine, like, one of the most horrific things in our history.
Yeah.
Like, as a human species, on a big scale, is like the first A-bomb.
Yeah.
And then the second one, 3 days later, just decimating two whole cities of civilians.
Yeah.
It's insane. So
yeah, it is insane.
yeah.
It absolutely is.
Anyway, so I just think that's interesting, like,
To see it from their perspective.
yeah, them
like,
working that out. Because even there's a bit Blues Creation, if you're familiar with them, they're an old like Japanese rock band from back in the day. Like their one album, I can't remember which album it is. They had the first song
Blues Clues.
Yeah, Blues Clues. That's what it is. The first song in there is like atomic bombs away, and it starts with like this A-bomb going off, and it's like this real bluesy kind of song. It's kind of an interesting thing. Which if you guys are into like old school rock and roll stuff and haven't checked out Blues Creation,
No,
highly
I only like current releases.
they're also. I figured it'd be right up your alley. Anyway, I'm getting a little too long-winded.
No, I think that is what. There's so much about this movie to unpack.
Oh, God,
and when you start going down that dynamic, there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot.
So with that said, I want to hold off, though.
Yeah.
Because there was a conversation towards the end of this episode that I really want us to dig into. I love how blunt the father was with introducing Gorgeous to her new mom.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, hey,
she's going to
your
be
mom.
your mom.
Yeah.
I could see any child not taking that well.
Oh, sure.
I think he could have approached that a little better.
Yeah. So, hey, you looking forward for a vacation? Oh, yeah, this is going to be the greatest summer ever. Yeah. About that. We might have a guest. I think he even says we're going to have a visitor with us. And she's so excited. I'm like, who is it? Your new mom?
Your new mom. Oh, my God.
Yeah, let's ease right into that.
Yeah.
That was cool how they shot that scene through. And I do think that was intentional. There's a lot to unpack here, not only with the undertones, but also with the techniques that they use.
Yeah, the techniques and the visual style of this film, it made me, I'm sorry, but I gotta get this out, because it made me forget that this film was from 1977.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it feels, maybe not like current, but it didn't feel like 1977.
And that was another thing that
it's gorgeously
I
shot.
had to wrap my head around, because, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. If, horror is different for us today because it's advanced so much and become so much more out in the open and so much more gruesome that to watch old horror is not as impactful. Same with effects.
Yeah.
Effects have advanced so much. You watch older stuff, it can take you out of the movie. But I give major props because they were going guns a-blazing on this thing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just like, let's pick 5 effects and just really nail them. It's like there were 30, 40 different effects, camera techniques.
It's all over the place in that movie.
Crazy.
I feel like it was really fearless. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like it was just, they were, like you said, all guns blazing. So it's like, I wasn't there, obviously, but I kind of feel like
Oh, shit.
there was
I thought you were.
I can imagine there was a sense on set and when they're there, it was just like,
Let's just do it.
Like, just do it. Don't even think about it. Just like,
I love the stuff when they're on the train, when they're traveling to the country, and the backgrounds, like they had the rainbow and stuff. It was all like animated.
But
and
what
stuff.
I loved
It was
about
great.
that too, and I want to go back to the window stuff in a second here, but about the train, I loved how it panned back, and eventually they removed the train, and you're just seeing the backdrop,
You're just seeing the backdrop
moving behind them.
Yeah,
like those kind of things I thought were really impactful and really well done.
Agreed.
Because it was, as she started to tell the story about her family, it just, I don't know.
It like opened it up.
Yeah, it
literally,
visually and mentally kind of put you in a headspace, like, you were in the moment.
that was one of my favorite scenes too, when she's talking about her family, and it's almost as if they're watching a film about it.
Because one of the girls comments like, "Your mom is so pretty," or something like that.
And there's one part where I think it's Kung Fu is in, when they're talking about the soldiers marching. Kung Fu's there, like walking with them.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I think it's her in the background. Yeah,
dude, she's a badass. I love that character.
Yeah, she was so good, man.
So about the scene, going back real quick, when the dad reveals that, so he's a musician, obviously. He was in Italy working on
scoring. I would assume scoring a film for Sergio Leone, because he said he liked his work more than Morricone.
Which I didn't pick up the first couple times I probably watched it, and then we watched it this time. I was like, holy shit! And I looked at her.
I picked up on that right away. I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
So
he was over in Italy scoring.
Yeah, so he comes back from Italy, and then he tells his daughter that, vacation's not going to be quite what you were expecting because you got a new mom now. But during that scene, shooting through the glass with the backdrop, the wind in the woman's clothes, always in the wind.
Yeah, she's always in the wind.
Yeah, her hair's always like blowing, and her.
I thought there were many times when, I do think one of the cinematic language techniques that are used a lot, especially in horror or films that try to build that unease, they block faces just to kind of add mystery and to break things up. Like there's iconic scenes from like Rosemary's Baby where there's like a phone conversation going on at the end of the hallway, and the guy's sitting on the bed and you can't see his face. It's like behind the wall, so people in the theater almost like lean into their side to try to look around,
try and look,
but just like to add this unease and this frustration. Like I trying to gather information and I can't. But I feel they did some of that through some of these early scenes where it didn't feel like. It didn't feel like a Rosemary's Baby type situation, but something was off.
It's there.
And it was this subconscious kind of cinematic language, subtle way of building it, which I liked. And I honed right in on that stuff.
I would definitely say if this movie is like too much for you, like story-wise, you got to at least appreciate the visual style, the effects for the time.
Well, I noticed at least twice they had those massive the matte paintings.
Oh yeah,
At least twice I picked up on, probably more.
There's so much to look at in this film and appreciate.
I will say the one thing I did not appreciate, that had to be the worst shoemaker ever. What the hell was he doing?
He was a shoes maker.
Oh, a
the
shoes
sign
maker.
said shoes maker. It's written in English. It said shoes maker.
I did like
which
how,
logically makes sense.
I mean, yeah, it does.
True. Yeah.
It does actually.
yeah, I
It's
only
like a
make
teeth brush.
I only make one shoe.
Yeah. You got to go across the street to get your other shoe.
I've only ever made one.
yeah.
All right, I'm done. I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
The English song that played during that scene.
Oh yeah, and they're just kind of like swaying to the music or whatever.
Yeah, well, they were singing the English lyrics as well.
Yeah, they were
in town during that moment.
Did you notice there was like an American or non-Japanese man in one of the shots?
Oh yeah.
When they're
Was that the train station?
It's when they're getting there. I think there's like a group of people standing there, and there's a guy. He's like wearing a red shirt. I was like, hey, he's
Yeah, there was like
a Caucasian man.
there's like people dressed up as cowboys and stuff. That was like kind of a weird
Yeah.
scene, and there was kind of a cool subtle scene about the guy and the girl like trying to say goodbye, and they keep breaking them up. And then finally all the girls are on. They go to say goodbye, and the door shuts in his face.
Yeah.
And they never.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it makes sense at the train station that there would be foreigners.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. I didn't even think of that.
No, it's still cool.
No, I'm dumb.
No, you're still dumb, but it doesn't make it any less cool. No.
Next, you should look up airplanes.
Yeah.
What are they?
Did you realize though when they got on the train, and then while they're telling the story, it then shows them on a bus, but never shows.
Yeah,
them.
the transition.
I never realized that until I saw it in one of his YouTube videos. I was like, that's a good point. Yeah.
Did they explain why?
No, they just say.
I just took it as it
shows the passing of
time lapse kind of situation.
I got I did want to point out the cat Blanche.
Oh yeah, Blanche.
That meows all the time without moving her mouth.
Oh yeah.
You just always hear this.
Well, she is pretty mystical.
That is true. I guess.
There was a little confusion though about Blanche. So Blanche was Gorgeous's cat, correct?
No.
So did Blanche come to her home?
Yeah, Blanche, from the way I understand it, is the auntie's.
So she brought the letter.
Because remember she's sitting there and the cat comes through the window. And then I think the cat's there trying to maybe mystify her or something or whatever. Because even when the letter comes from the auntie, the cat's sitting on the mailbox.
Yeah, I caught that, but I thought
so. The cat was not
maybe
there.
the cat did bring it.
See, I thought it was
the cat. Was not there prior to the letter arriving?
Yeah,
Wow.
It was her minion.
I thought that was like her cat, Gorgeous's cat. Interesting.
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Blanche. Well, I got a little, because obviously by the end of the film I was like, well, clearly it's the aunt's cat, but I was a little confused. I didn't know if like the aunt like implanted it like pre letter. Like
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, this might have been because she even says at one point she's like, I've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you or something. Who knows? Real quick, going back to the thing I was thinking about with the introducing the mom, and we're like, oh, that was kind of abrupt. I'm wondering if that might be a cultural thing, because now I'm thinking about it. There's been several movies.
Okay.
Japanese movies I've seen where that was a theme where it's like, oh, by the way, here's your new mom.
Oh, so it's just kind of... Well, you know what? They did, obviously, earlier, one of their schoolmates or teacher talked about how they were in an arranged marriage.
Arranged marriage, yeah.
So maybe that was a little more par for the course.
I thought she was being cheeky. I thought she was like joking or something.
Oh, was she?
I couldn't tell. I don't know. Like, again, cultural differences. I don't know.
What's with their one teacher, the guy? Like...
what's his name? Mr. Tobo? Guto?
I thought it was Toho.
I think I got
That's
it.
not right.
One day we'll know what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's
bear with us.
Mr. Togo.
Mr. Togo, that's it, yeah.
He had a little bit of a weird relationship with his students.
Well, he was the one that was supposed to marry the other teacher that said it was an arranged marriage, right? And then the one girl, Fantasy, I think, was infatuated with him.
Well,
of course, she's a fantasy.
That's just always fantasizing about stuff, yeah.
But yeah, that was weird. Sarah's like, why is this, like, gym teacher or whatever he is, like, taking these girls out into the countryside? And I was like, 70s was a different time.
Like, there's a scene where they're all crowded around him, and the one girl's, like, holding on to his arm.
Was that Fantasy, though?
Probably.
Yeah.
It was before I knew who all of them were. Like, yeah, it's little weird.
Yeah, it was.
But
But maybe that was also, I don't know.
a cultural thing.
But then again, maybe that teacher was joking. Maybe the teacher knew that fantasy had a thing for her, so she made a joke saying, "Oh yeah, it's an arranged marriage to Mr. Togo."
Yeah.
You know, you bitch.
Yeah. That's my man, you
Yeah,
bitch.
exactly. Maybe it's like that kind of situation.
He was also, I think, a friend of Obayashi's, and I think he was also a country singer or something.
Oh, really?
So I think later there's a song while he's playing while he's driving through.
While he's driving, it's like
song.
it's like a twangy guitar. I heard it.
I'm guessing that might be him
Might
because
be.
he was.
He's like driving through the field or something.
Yeah,
while I was playing.
Because even oh god, I'm gonna get it wrong. Godigo is a band that's in it. Like, remember when they're going to the bus and there's those guys that they see?
Okay.
Sarah's like, who are these creeps?
Oh.
That's the band Godigo or something. That's not correct us. Via
Hit us
on
up.
our message
Hit
board,
us up
correct
on our
us.
social
Yeah.
media.
They did some of the music for this. So a lot of friends and people we brought in had parts in it and also did music.
Okay.
Like the guy, the watermelon. Here I go.
Watermelon?
Yeah. If we're ever trying to hide where we're from, me saying watermelon is totally going to kill that.
Yeah.
We're from California.
Yeah. We all eat watermelon. But the watermelon salesman guy is the guy that scored the...
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so they're all...
He was a wacky character.
Oh, totally.
His reveal was great.
Oh, yeah.
She picked up the watermelon. He's just like, his head's
Big
just
ol'
there.
leg.
He's rolling his
With
eyes.
this weird, yeah.
Yeah, he totally, he was into that part.
Yeah.
Maybe it's pronounced Gojira.
You know what? I was way off.
Which is another film dealing with the aftermath of World War II.
Yeah.
And a Toho movie.
I can
Yeah, and it's
imagine
all
that.
well-known.
I can imagine that theme has impacted that.
Oh, I'm sure it's seeped into like
society
everything.
quite
yeah.
a bit.
Oh, yeah, the atomic age in general, like them. With the giant ants in the desert.
Yeah,
and
right,
stuff like
right.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the iris shot. That is a shot typically used for transitions. And you very rarely see the iris shot used during actual scenes.
Oh, is that the shot you see constantly throughout?
In the beginning, where they literally the camera, like, it all blacks out except for the one. It's a circle that just moves into the middle of the screen. And they use it at least 2 or 3 times at the very beginning. Like once when you see the cats on the train, and then once when you see Gorgeous standing next to all the girls upset.
Yeah.
You know, when they were
Yeah,
out in
that's
the courtyard at school or whatever. They use it at least 3 or 4 times at the very beginning of the film. But that is typical of, like, they use it in Looney Tunes. Like, that's all, folks. Like, when they're usually it's a transition to either open a scene or close a scene.
It'll shrink out and then come back out to another scene or whatever.
So clearly they were using it as a tool to guide the viewer's eye. Now, typically filmmakers try to be a little more subtle with that tactic, and they use rack focuses, or they use, tight shots, obviously. But they were like, screw it.
Yeah,
we're just going to kind of hone in. But maybe then again, it was something in post where they felt it didn't translate. They didn't film the rack focus or cutaways on, day of. So it's like, okay, we got to draw. There's something we're trying to point out. We got to draw attention here. How can we do it creatively? So they just kind of went bananas with banana. There we are.
There we go.
Theme.
That's the recurring theme tonight.
They went bananas with the with that technique, which I thought was cool. You typically don't see that used in that fashion.
I love, I know we've all touched on this already. The film techniques and stuff they use in this film are just
I like that they break
very
the rules
impressive.
too.
Yeah, they definitely break a lot of rules, but it works for this film. Like,
I like when you can break the rules and it still works, and you're like, see, I told you. I think it was in oh crap, I'm drawing a blank now. I'm on the spot. William Friedkin, To Live and Die in L.A. Wasn't that like part of his?
I've never seen that movie.
His thing was he was like, I'm going to intentionally
break these well-established rules.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's what I love. That's what I love about filmmaking, and that's what I love about "quote unquote" cracking the code.
Yeah,
is they say it all the time that there's the rules to filmmaking. There's laws that should be followed, but the fact of the matter is they're just kind of like a guideline.
Yeah,
there are no rules.
Yeah,
these are things that people that other filmmakers have learned over the years that have been effective.
It's things that have been like perfected and become standard
because
practice.
they work. Because that's again what what is so intriguing to me about just filmmaking in general is the fact that just because you have a camera and you have editing software and you got people, it doesn't mean you can make a film that translates.
Yeah.
You know, it's the beauty of film when done correctly is they use these tools, much like Michelangelo had his paints, but I guarantee you I couldn't paint the Sistine Chapel.
I don't know,
You
Pat.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Give it a shot.
but
Don't sell yourself short.
he managed to hone those tools into something that is just gorgeous. But that's what I love about filmmaking is it's about finding techniques to crack this code, to find a way to have a viewer become emotionally invested by using cinematic language and the tricks of the trade. So that's where the laws come from. Hey, this has worked. You should use this if you're trying to convey that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean you have to.
No.
If you can think of another way to do it, do it.
Do it.
I think also once you fundamentally understand the rules and why they're in place, it makes it easier to break them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know,
I think there has to be that core understanding, or else you're just
Which I think
you're
is,
just bullshitting your way through it.
yeah, which I think is the difference between something that's amateurish and something that's professional. Even if they use the same techniques, it's like the person who understands fundamentally how everything's put together can make it still work. Where someone who's that's amateur says, like, I didn't know I had to put this camera
They
on
can
the
just
dolly.
they can,
Yeah.
they
You know what I
can
mean? Or-
bend that stuff to their will.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's cool. Like, whenever you hear these stories, like, yeah, we just couldn't get the shot we wanted, so we just built a Steadicam. And it's like...
Yeah, exactly.
And before that, I don't know what the hell they did, or you know what I mean? You might know, I don't know. But, like, they just... necessity is the mother of invention. I'm going way off topic.
No,
Bouncing around all
this
over
is
the place.
great.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that I geek out about.
Yeah, yeah.
Is cracking the code and trying to figure out why did they use that technique to convey that?
Yeah.
You know, did it work? Didn't it work? Why? You know, and again, if you listen back to a previous episode like The Visitor, I think in our conversation, I feel like we established that some of the scenes that I questioned when I was viewing them probably had to do with the way that they had to dub the lines later.
Yeah.
So they used certain shots that didn't make sense at first glance to hide the faces so they could, you know, but those are the kind of things I love, like trying to figure out the bottom of. And I think there's
like a puzzle.
there's a lot of that in this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I love how the one friend just didn't give a shit and just asked the aunt, "What happened to your legs?"
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Which one was
I think that was Kuth.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I-
was that Mac? I feel like that would have been her.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I
don't
feel
know.
like
It's a
she
good
was the
question. I
one
don't
that
remember.
would have been, because she just wanted to eat. She didn't give
Yeah.
a shit about
Yeah, that's
anybody.
literally all she cared about.
Yeah, but I can't remember which
She was
one.
pretty one note. I mean,
But yeah, what happened to your legs? I'm like, oh man, really? You're not
Yeah.
even in the door yet. That's
Yeah.
pretty-
you don't know this lady.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And you're staying at her home.
No.
But Annie was like, yeah, we just roll with the punches. Like, that's all right. You'll be the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, why don't you go put the watermelon in the well?
Yeah.
Not the fridge.
Yeah.
Fridge is broken.
Yeah.
It's out of order. She's out of order.
So
Yeah.
I have a note here, which I'm going to mention now, but I do think that there's a much deeper meaning upon
Okay, cool.
reflection. So the cat, the green eyes, and the broken camera.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the friend went to take a photo of them when they got there, and then that's the first time you see the cat's green eyes, and the camera gets kind of flung in the air and falls and hits the floor and breaks. So I have that in my notes here because obviously I felt it was noteworthy. I guess I don't know that I've ever used the term noteworthy in quite an appropriate manner.
Yeah, that was, like,
because
spot on.
I literally wrote it on my notes.
And it's worthwhile.
It was worthy of being noted. So, but
I love it when that stuff comes
I
together.
digress.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
So, but yeah, so I saw that scene and I thought it was noteworthy, but it makes, I think, a little more sense upon further investigating.
Yeah.
So let's put a pin in that. But-
Okay, because I had something to add to that.
Oh, go on. Then take
So-
that pin out and run.
holy
We'll
shit.
have to edit that out. Jesus Christ.
I think my headphones exploded.
Yeah, me too.
You may have just blown out some car windows.
Yeah. I watched one of the YouTube videos I watched. A guy was breaking it down and brought up a really good point. This was going back to the A-bomb thing. When they show, and I'm probably butchering this guy's put together point, but bear with me. when they show the A-bomb going off, it's like a flash. And then that's when, stuff goes, everything after that is when everything goes wrong. So everything before the story of the A-bomb seems like a normal, run-of-the-mill thing. And then after that A-bomb story and you see the one flash, then everything else
starts going wonky.
Goes to shit, and nothing's like it was before that flash.
Interesting.
Well, he also mentioned that point with the camera. He's like, the same thing happens when the flash of the camera goes off, the cat's eyes flicker, it breaks, and everything past that point when that camera breaks is
part 2.
It's the aftermath of that flash.
Post A-bomb.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Interesting.
So let me tell you, that is my point.
Oh, okay. You and this guy are kindred spirits.
Yeah. No, well... But this is what I think is great. And I think I have, now being 40 years old, still the youngest in the room, but 40.
Fuck you.
This motherfucker.
But, look at me. Look at me. I'm younger than you, old bastard.
But with
Fuck out of here.
the life experiences I've had so far, what I've learned is
Baby,
this.
you haven't had any life experiences.
Wait till you get to be my age.
Yeah.
2 years.
What I've learned, this is what I've learned. And I think this was the point that this filmmaker was dealing with. In society, when something traumatic happens, okay, our version of this in our lifetime is 9/11. Okay?
Okay.
Just comparing, like, the filmmaker was obviously affected directly by World War II.
For us, I guess it would have to be 9/11.
Right, World War II.
Yes.
And the A-bomb. I mean, apparently, based on what I've read, he's lost friends.
Yeah, it said all his childhood friends were gone.
Wiped
out completely.
Wiped away
Awful.
in a moment.
In an instant.
In an instant. Gone.
Casualties of war.
Yep. So, the closest thing we have to compare to that
in our lifetime.
is 9/11. In our country is 9/11. Now,
that doesn't even compare.
No, it doesn't compare. But I'm trying to get my feet on solid ground and try to relate in some capacity. But so you hear us all the time as Americans, ever since it happened, never forget, never forget.
Yeah.
And
pre 9/11, you hear that a lot.
No. What?
The term pre 9/11, like
pre 9/11. I thought you were saying never forget. You would hear pre 9/11.
I thought that's what you were saying.
No.
Never forget what never happened yet.
No, the term pre, like that,
Yes.
the fact that that's a thing.
Yes.
Pre 9/11.
And
we sum up our lives pre and post 9/11.
Yeah.
So, but it has been very crystal clear to me. People grow up so quickly. Children are born and grow up so quickly. I have a young daughter now. She has no freaking idea what 9/11 is. Now, sure, as she gets older, we'll explain it to her, but she wasn't here.
She'll have
never
the impact.
truly. It's a story. It's a story to her.
Yeah.
It's not rooted in reality.
It's not reality to her. It's just something
like the
that
JFK
happened.
assassination for our generation.
Correct.
Yeah.
For your generation.
Or
no, I'm just kidding.
Pearl Harbor.
Joking.
Attack on Pearl Harbor.
That was an age joke. Yeah.
It was like I was trying to think. I'm trying to think of some old thing that happened back in colonial times. It's like when we signed the.
It was like when Roanoke disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Krakatoa. Wasn't that the word?
Yeah. But no, that's very true. Our parents remembered where they were sitting when they found out JFK was assassinated, just like we remember where we were, which, by the way, Justin and I were in the same building.
Yeah.
I, in fact, may have told you.
You did. I remember. I was up on a cherry picker, which is like, forklift, but you're on the part that goes up.
Like 3 stories up.
Yeah, and Pat walked by and he's like, hey, I just heard on the radio like an airplane hit the World Trade Center or something. And I started laughing. Because I was laughing, because in my mind I thought it was like
there's no way
like
that
a little
could be true.
like a little 2-seater.
Yeah, I thought it was like, because in my mind I'm like, did someone in a 2-seater Cessna or something not see a fucking giant building in front of them? Like, it was like ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
And then a while later he came back and like, I think they just said another one hit the Pentagon or something, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, now something's going on.
Yeah.
And then you heard about the one that went down the field in Pennsylvania, and then you're like, oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
But so we remember that.
Yeah.
Just like our parents remember JFK, but to us, pre 9/11, when they would mention JFK and how traumatic it was to them, it's, you can listen.
It's just something you would learn about in history books.
Yeah, it's history. Therein lies the reason that when they showed the A-bomb for a matter of moments in this film, and the one girl says it's like cotton candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just proves that generation has no idea.
There's a disconnect.
How horrific that was. No, it was not like cotton candy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, it was so far from cotton candy.
Yeah, it's a disconnect.
You
It's
have
just
no idea.
It's like a legend to them.
Yeah.
Like,
so, and I think that was that juxtaposition in that moment. That was the transition, as you said.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really neat how this horrific story is being told and how these lives were impacted, and then the younger generation is like, "Oh, it's so cute. It's so sweet."
Yeah.
You know.
I definitely really appreciate the fact that we're getting really deep into some deep stuff in a movie where a girl's friend's severed head bites her on her butt.
God damn it, that's in my
Oh,
notes.
is it?
Yeah.
Well, we could talk about that now.
It's-
We could probably get just as deep as that.
I wrote it down as floating Mac head butt bite. Floating Mac head butt bite.
Say that 5 times fast.
So hold on. I want to get into the butt bite, but before we get into the butt bite,
Butt before?
But before, can we talk about the chandelier lizard situation? Because I feel like I never got closure on that one.
Oh, chandelier kung fu?
Yeah. So yeah, when they walk in and the chandelier decides to go apeshit and start flinging crystals, and then it kills a lizard on the ground, and there's glistening lights
And kung fu is kicking the fragments before they fall on people, I guess?
Yeah, what is that?
I think there's several things here.
It's the house.
One, it's solidifying how badass Kung Fu is.
Yeah.
And also, and I think I misread something here, because remember she's wearing glasses when they get there? And then after the lizard gets killed, she's not wearing them anymore.
Kung fu wore glasses?
No, the auntie.
Oh, the ant.
Oh.
And then in my mind, I was like, oh, that's her getting her sight back because she sucked a small soul gave her a small piece of herself back.
Yeah, because she was getting stronger as she was killing the girl.
But
She
would
started
a
walking.
lizard would work?
Apparently not, because later on when they go back outside, she puts the glasses back on. I think it was just because of the daylight. So I misread that. So
That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool.
Yeah. But so the ant. So we know that we heard before we even met the ant, we heard that she gave piano lessons. So did she like eat all of her piano students? Is that kind of
Well, they said there's no young girls left in the village.
Yeah.
There's none.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
So she must have demolished all of them.
She just wiped out the whole population of young girls.
Oh, and being a piano teacher and
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
She just basically that was her way of luring them in.
That's cool.
Wild. Oh, is it?
No, not cool. I mean, for clarity, for people out there who are considering consuming all the young girls in their village, it's not cool. Don't do it.
Cool.
But I mean, from a story perspective,
Shit, I was
Yeah.
about to go on Amazon and buy a piano.
yeah, we can insert a phone number here if anyone has those thoughts and needs to talk to
Aspirations.
somebody. Those glowing eyes of aspiration.
Yeah, I do love at one point. Clearly, someone threw the cat into the ant's lap.
Yes,
yeah.
I said that. I said the same thing to
Yeah.
Angel. I was like, someone clearly threw, just went. Whoop.
Yeah.
Who said, Mac, you sure look tasty being round and all, but that was the ant.
That was the
said
ant. The ant said
yeah.
that.
it. Yeah.
Well, if she's the one that said the thing about her feet, I'd say that's pretty even.
Yeah, that's payback.
Oh yeah.
Payback.
You alright over there, Bugga
Yeah.
Bugga? I don't know what a Bugga is.
That was another thing. They had this in the trailer. And in fact,
I did not watch the trailer.
I wish that I hadn't. Because the trailer prepared me
Oh, yeah.
for glimpses of what was to come. I wish that I would have been more startled by
No,
it.
I went
Like,
totally in blind.
I
and it
should have
was
said
great.
something, not to watch the trailer, because that's how we found out about this. We just happened to come across it. We watched the trailer. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I know I need to see it immediately, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like in the past, I wish, again, to reference a previous episode, with The Visitor, I wish I would have watched the trailer.
Yeah.
Because I think I needed a little kind of head start.
A little
but
primer.
with this, because even that trailer didn't really reveal too much of the crazy shit.
But it was a really good trailer,
It's
too.
a good
With
trailer.
the music.
Yeah.
And, it's like, as soon as that music kicks in, you're like, yeah.
But this trailer, it was intriguing, but I think it revealed too much, and it may have taken away from the potential impact. Because I'm
They showed
telling
you a
you,
lot of stuff.
that
Yeah.
first half of the film until they get to the house was pretty slow rolling. You know, and
It's pretty normal.
yeah, I
Everything's
would have been
normal.
like, all right, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
You know, and then when shit
Like I
started
was.
happening,
because I didn't see the
would have gotten
trailer.
more
Well,
of an impact.
that's like, and I know you were. It was at your house. You remember this? I don't know if you were there when we watched the audition for the first time. You guys remember that?
Oh yeah.
I did not see that with you guys, but
Yeah,
I love that movie.
We were all sitting there watching it, and at the beginning, it's just this guy and interviewing,
trying to find a wife.
trying to find a wife and all this. Yeah, exactly, similar
Yeah.
thing. And we're sitting there watching. We're watching it, and I think some people are getting bored, just like side conversations going on and stuff, and just kind of like watching this. It was a good movie, but there's a whole lot really happening.
That movie takes you, catches you off guard.
But man, when that bag in the back, when the phone rings, and that bag rattles, everyone just stopped whatever they were doing, looked at the TV, and Brian jumped up and grabbed his shoes from under his chair. He's like, "I'm fucking out of here," and started heading towards the door. I'm like, "No, sit down." You remember that?
Yeah.
He got up
I
and grabbed
wasn't there.
his shoes.
Dude, that was startling.
Yeah, it was like, just say, I love that calm.
That movie is
And
so
they totally
good.
catch you off guard because
Yeah.
everything's calm, and it's not like it's calm, just like nothing going on. It's building characters, it's doing things. It's just not like
But then
Michael Bay explosions and stuff. But man, when that hits you,
yeah,
boy,
yeah, when it hit, it was something.
Yeah, that Takeshi Miike guy, man.
he's something
Sorry
else.
if I butchered his name, but man, phenomenal career. Like, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
He's worked in so many different genres, and he's got to have at least one like standout film in every genre practically.
You're probably right. Yeah.
God, he's so good.
So I just want to rattle off a few a few more techniques they used in this
Okay.
that jumped out at me. But I want to rattle through them because we're spending a lot of time on some of my early notes. The reflection shot of the ant, which I thought was great. I saw that in the trailer. It's shot through a bucket of water.
Yes.
And then at the end of she says something, and at the end of her
the
sentence,
sunlight bothers my eyes.
Yeah, and then she hit the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I love the cool left-right eye camera
Yeah.
technique, where you had the one character looking up at Prof, saying, "You're so pretty without your glasses," closing one eye, then the other, back and forth. But the camera, then it would go from looking at the character who was doing that with their eyes to looking at the POV of the character.
Yeah.
Camera one,
bouncing.
camera two.
Yeah.
Camera one.
Fans of Wayne's
Camera
World
two.
might
yeah.
recognize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think it was lifted from
Yeah.
from
Wayne's
House?
World style. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be. Who knows? Yeah.
Maybe.
Then there was the Zolly shot, which, again, if this was inspired by the studio from Jaws, that's almost certainly why the Zolly,
Zolly shot?
The Zolly shot is where they...
For people who don't know, of course I know.
Yeah, the camera...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Just remind everyone though.
It zooms out as it dollies in. So it,
that,
like,
the
it lengthens...
the stretching hallways type
Yeah,
of
I
thing.
agree.
It's in Jaws. The first time Chief Brody
On the
sees
beach.
the shark,
Yeah.
he stands up, and it's like...
Yeah.
That's one of the more iconic ones. But they used the Zolly shot in there. It was the scene where Mac, I guess her head...
Oh, zoom dolly. Duh.
Yeah.
Is that why it's called
yeah,
that?
it's called a Zolly because it's a zoom and a
Why?
dolly.
I should know that. Holy shit.
I don't know. You don't know much. But
But I know I love you.
You guys need a moment?
that ended up so much better than I anticipated. So they had the Zolly, and I'm sure that was Jaws inspired. If this is what they were going for.
Yeah. It was Jaws 5 / Cruel Jaws. You ever hear of that?
No.
Jaws 5.
It sounds like a Simpsons joke.
There is a Jaws 5. It actually exists.
Okay.
It's Bruno Mattei or Mattei.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
butchered that one of his things earlier.
He
the tank
directed it 95, and it actually has footage from Jaws in it. And they were saying this will never be released on home video.
Has it leaked?
It's officially out from Severin Films.
Really?
They just released it.
Is that
It's called Cruel Jaws or
Okay.
Jaws 5.
Okay.
Cruel Jaws?
Cruel Jaws.
I mean, that's the most terrifying word they could come up with.
Yeah.
Cruel?
Yeah.
well, it's Italian.
Naughty Jaws.
Naughty Jaws.
Yeah.
Inconvenience Jaws.
But not only that,
Subtitle: He's cross with you.
there's I think there's literally a split couple seconds of Jaws in this film, but he also rips off a bunch of other Italian shark movies.
Oh, okay.
And not only rips them off, but uses footage from them. Uses music that's blatant rip-off of the Jaws theme. Man. That's
interesting.
They said this movie would never be released on home video, and then Severin somehow
And here we
released
are.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it, what process they had to go through, the clearances they had to have, but
Yeah, I'm very curious about that.
So anyway, the Zolly shots used. Flying head, butt bite, vomit, water. That's my notes.
Oh, yeah.
Eyeball in the mouth. Mm-hmm. While the ant is eating watermelon. That was a little eerie.
Yeah, I think that's, if not Sarah's favorite part, I think she said it's one of her favorite parts.
Who is it that was watching her?
Fantasy,
I feel like it was fantasy because she was catching a lot of it. No one was believing her
because of her nature.
Oh, that's right. I never put that together.
Yeah,
because she's so out there with her
like open-minded, basically,
and daydreaming.
Yeah. She catches all that.
Wow,
shit.
And that's why they kind of wrote it off.
They're like, she's just.
It's just fan. Why do you think we call her that?
She's the one with the butt bite too, because she was. That's why she's already like, what the fuck? No one's believing me.
That makes more sense because I wondered why aren't they believing her? But it makes sense now.
She's daydreaming.
Wow. Cool. What was eerie, and I guess I would love to know when Ringu, is that what it was originally called?
Yeah, the ring. Yeah.
When
Ringu.
that came out. Because the hair in the bathtub was very eerie and very reminiscent of what would eventually be...
I think House is way before Ringu.
Yeah.
I think that was in the 90s.
98, yeah.
Oh, that even their version?
Yeah, Ringu was 98.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think the thing... with the hair, I think that's also a very common theme.
It is.
In Japanese kind of...
Yeah. That's like a thing they use a lot.
Hair?
The hair just kind of... Because what's the long hair?
I feel like I see a lot. Like, what was
almost
the one,
like tentacles.
Was it Dark Water or something? What was the one that had the American remake had Jennifer
Connelly?
Was there a hair thing in
Dark Water? Yeah.
Dark Water?
Yeah. It's like coming out of the... not toilet. to the
faucet,
bathtub and stuff.
The drain.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Kung Fu had many a scene that were hers. Her theme would kick in.
Her theme was awesome.
Yeah.
Like whenever it kicked in, I was like, "Oh shit! There's gonna be some Kung Fu from Kung Fu."
I'll insert that theme right here. So it'll
you should do it whenever we mention
it'll be playing.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
So
Kung Fu.
There was Kung Fu with the chandelier. There was Kung Fu with the logs. There was
the
firewood.
burning logs. Yeah.
Kung Fu with the doors, right? When the doors and windows were shut.
She kicked something open.
Oh yeah, earlier. Yeah, rats came out.
That was very funny because the one girl had, I think it might have been Mac or something, had it hanging on her necklace, and she's like laughing.
She's like, it's just a mouse, and it's just like, ah!
I wonder if she knew it was. They had to have put it there.
Yeah.
Because her reaction though was like,
it was
yeah.
God, I love the characters in this movie. I really do. Like, I like the group of girls. Like, I would think there'd be, as we've talked about before, like this cultural disconnect. But man, no, I felt those characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I've already said it, but this movie did not feel like it was 1977. No. It really didn't. It felt much more modern, not much more, but more modern than 1977.
I think too, there's that technique of having those specialized people in movies is something that's been used a lot, like Japanese movies and stuff that we adopted later, you know, and stuff like that. Where I always love those, like where you have a crew. Like I love when it's like crime movies and you have the guy that can crack safes and you have a getaway driver.
So I always love like Mission Impossible. I'm talking pre-Tom Cruise Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Like where you had the guy with disguises and you had the leader and you had the one that knew all the languages.
Yep.
It's like
I love that.
Yeah.
That's why Sarah hated the first Mission Impossible movie when she saw it.
Yeah.
She's like, they just killed off the entire team.
That's what I'm saying.
That was the point of Mission Impossible.
That's what I'm saying. And it's just so it could be Tom Cruise's movie.
Yeah.
I was upset too, especially knowing because I was a fan of the show. I was a fan of the second show.
The revival.
The revival. Because, you know, the original was before my time.
Was that in the 60s
Because I'm
or something?
so young.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was early.
So young.
Yeah, that was...
I remember watching that in high school.
Yeah, that was...
Live.
who was that? That was... oh my goodness. The older gentleman who was in Ed Wood. Martin Landau.
Oh, Martin Landau. Okay.
He was in the original, right? He was in the original Mission Impossible. And then when it came back, it was Peter Graves.
Mm-hmm. That's the one I watched.
That's the one I watched too.
Peter Graves. Damn, nice.
Yeah. So the main piano theme.
Yes.
It was awesome.
It was great. Cool. It was great, but I do think there was a slight element of what I felt with Slaughter High. If you haven't listened to the Slaughter High episode 1, check it out. But
definitely.
I felt
before it gets taken down for copyright infringement.
Yeah. I felt by 2/3 of the way through, I'm like, all right, you know, like but then again, I guess I can kind of understand. This was a little more pleasant to the ear The Slaughter High one was just, ugh.
Yeah, a little.
Get the hell out of here. That was a masterpiece.
Yeah, but this one was more. It was a really nicely written piano, piece. But and then melody. It was soothing, but then melody kind of made it her own and kept playing it over and over again. But
and then the piano was all
the glowing piano keys.
Which the Aunt put the music.
She did. She put the music sheet up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she did. Totally.
I didn't. We noticed that this time. We didn't notice it before.
So then there is the whole lipstick mirror fire effect scene with Gorgeous.
At the exact halfway point of the movie.
Is that the exact halfway?
According to some other YouTuber I saw.
Okay.
But he made it a good point about that, which I don't remember. Watch the we'll put a link to the YouTube video so you can watch it. I wish I could remember because it was really, really well put about that transition with her in the mirror and looking at her mother and everything. And he was like, I wish I could remember because it was a really good point about how that was the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Cool. Good point, Justin.
I will say this. to touch on something we talked about already. Some of the investigating I did after the fact about this film. What was said was they talked about the absurdity of the bomb. The destruction in an instant, the flash of light, an entire population of people gone. Some things are so horrific that truth isn't sufficient for the truth. The only way is with fiction so outlandish that it approximates the absurdity of true horror. So I think they used that theme as their foundation for this film.
Well, I think a lot of times, and I think some people don't get this, is that a lot of people use humor and things like that as a coping mechanism.
Fuck yeah, I do.
Like, I know, like, early on in the, during the COVID crisis that we're in now, people were making jokes, and I don't think were necessarily tasteless, but some people were getting offended by it. But I think it was like people like just like, just dealing with her. Like when you really break it down, there's some really horrific stuff going on. You know what I mean? I think it's just a lot for people to take in, and some people are doing. And it's like the same thing. Sarah was listening to. I think I mentioned this before. This other podcast with serial killers and everything. They're talking about Ed Gein and like when it was discovered, like all these things people around there would make jokes and stuff like that and call them Geiners. And just because it was just, your mind can't comprehend.
Yeah, humor.
Yeah, not in our town. There's no way that could happen here.
Yeah. Someone making vagina belts and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, who would do a thing like that? I'm being stared. I'm being stared at by both my compatriots here. Compatriots? I don't know. My comrades?
Yes, comrades.
Yeah, that works.
So again, I learned a lot just recently about the fantasy character and why no one believed her.
Yeah.
But that little fantasy that she had of Mr. Togu coming in, or Togo, however you say it, coming and saving the day, the knight in shining armor.
Yeah. I thought that scene was great.
Where it even showed the end as if he's going to come save it all.
The movie's over.
Yep.
Sweet.
So I thought that was great.
It was.
Another camera technique that I noticed is the shutter speed technique. When they were running down the steps to get to the phone.
Yeah.
Did you notice the shutter speed was off? So it looked very dreamlike.
That was one thing I wanted to bring up, but you already brought it up. I think of the entire film, that was the one thing that kind of annoyed me because it went on so long. I think it went on too long.
It did kind of go on for a while.
Yeah.
I can see your point.
It kind of overstayed its welcome. But other than that, everything else, technique-wise and effects and visually, was great.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a fun house when they have the strobe light going on. Everybody's kind of disoriented.
I mean, it was cool, but I think it went on a little too much.
Yeah.
A little too long.
Yeah, so two more techniques that I want to mention. Because, again, this thing was chock full of just techniques and use of cinematic language and just ways of conveying things. I really like the trucking shot, the back and forth trucking shot of the girls at the piano.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking that too.
As it was going back and forth between the two of them, and you see the cobwebs on the piano. Like, I thought that was really cool.
That was cool.
The other thing that I wanted to say about just techniques is after the piano death, which, by the way, the melody with her fingers and her hands and all the absurdity of the piano.
Yeah.
After all of that goes down, her character comes in and probably for the first time in the film breaks the fourth wall and looks at us and says, "That's naughty."
Yeah, she does.
No, I don't think that was the first time the fourth wall was broken.
When was it broken prior to that?
Oh, wait. Yeah, I think before that, there was the part when they're in the kitchen and Annie falls back into the refrigerator.
She goes into the fridge and then she comes out. She looks at the camera in the foreground.
And winks or something.
Yeah,
that's right.
So you're right.
You're right.
But I like that how even in the absurd, that whole piano scene, which was so absurd.
Yeah, oh yeah.
How even they were like, okay, we're not going to take this so seriously. Yeah. We're even going to have her severed head come back in here and say how naughty.
That was hilarious. I don't know why that was so hilarious. I was like, oh, that's naughty.
But again, I thought that was
so much humor in this movie.
I thought that was really cool, though, when you consider 1977, how that looked and what they were up against with just the limitations of technology of the time. It was pretty cool that they were able to pull any of that.
It's
off.
impressive. A lot of it is impressive.
And I feel like going back to like the living in oblivion thing that we're saying about, like, I feel like when there's good energy on set and people are in and there's just a good like creative vibe, I think it really shines through.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone here had to have fun. Like it just seemed like it was such a really good fun.
It seemed like the girls themselves really seemed like they really clicked. They seemed like a genuine group of friends. And you do see that in other films.
Yeah.
But it's especially noteworthy in this one because it was like the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that more now in films.
Yeah, and I might be wrong about this, but I think a lot of these actresses never acted again. Wow. Some of them, at least. Maybe not a lot. I think some of them, it may have been like a one and done situation.
I don't know. It might have been.
But with that, it's like, I would guarantee that this is like a once in a lifetime experience for some of them. So I'm sure that they were having a blast in the midst of it.
And I think a lot of them was their first movie because I think it was only, I got it right in here, Kimiko, Ikegami, and Yoko Minamita, it says, were the only two that had prior acting experience or that were experienced.
Wow.
So how true that is, I don't know. I got it off the internet.
All right. Well, I would say it's true.
Yeah.
So the clock, the house-made clock. What was your interpretation of that, Justin?
I don't really have an interpretation, but I thought it looked super cool.
Yeah, the one. Which girl was it?
The one where the girl's inside.
Yeah.
It was Sweet, I think.
Yeah,
Sweet.
That's Sweet. Was she the one that got attacked by the mattresses?
Yeah, which was really weird. They were like just finding bits of her clothes and stuff like that, and like just find like a doll.
Yeah.
So I felt bad for Blanche. I mean, I guess I did after. I liked the cat, but then again, was the cat a villain?
The cat was bad the whole time.
I almost feel like the cat was almost like I feel like the cat was the power that was giving the Annie the life. The power to sustain the vampiric power, for lack of a better term, to stay alive.
Yeah. Man, that got really dramatic there.
Yeah.
To stay alive. It's like the intro to like a survival in the wilderness kind of show. Like, what will you do to stay alive?
I was really just trying not to burp into the microphone. I don't want to ruin the smoke and mirrors of everything. But yeah, I was just really holding back a burp.
All right. Well, we appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So I loved. Real quick, the piano scene. I got to backtrack to that real quick because there was one small little element to that I really liked at the very tail end when they come back into the room and they see the fingers playing
the piano.
What I loved, though, is they let it breathe. They played the theme again, except for the very last note was wrong.
Oh, really?
It was off. It was like off key.
And then it slams
shut. I was like, that's awesome.
That was cool. That is cool.
Yes.
Sam Raimi had to have seen this film. There were Sam Raimi-esque.
But how?
I don't know.
Because it wasn't released over here.
But
I think if you're like, I feel like film school
Maybe.
folks and stuff have connections, or like someone saw. Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know, but I feel like people in film school tend to
It
find
seems
shit
like
that no one else
maybe,
finds.
but like
Seems like a no-brainer that he would have seen it.
Yeah, like the cabinets open and close, the drawers coming in, and that was totally Sam Raimi. Like, I totally felt an Evil Dead presence in this film when shit started going haywire.
There did feel like some Sam Raimi stuff in here.
It did.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or it might just be, again, kindred spirits, man. Great minds think alike.
Yeah,
Maybe
true.
they were both,
True. And then what about the Naked Swim? Who was that? Was that Prof?
Yeah.
Prof, and then who else was in the water? Was that Fantasy? Can't remember who was above the water there, and Prof went in, and there was this whole naked swimming scene.
Yeah, who was the other one up there?
I think
it was Fantasy.
I feel like it was Fantasy.
Yeah, I think it was too.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it was ironic, kind of. I think she might have been the last one, and she was the first one to see everything go down.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I would like to do. First of all, I would like to ask if you guys have any final thoughts before we proceed to the rating portion of the show.
Well, the only other thing I would say is we didn't really discuss Toho too much. About the impact they had, but I think anyone who's going to be listening to this understands. Like,
if you don't understand the impact of Toho, then you need to look into that because, holy shit, I don't think we need to get into that.
No, I don't think so. But
because that's a goddamn fucking.
That's a whole.
That's a whole topic, man. That's.
But yeah, other than that, I'm good.
Godzilla. I mean, right there.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm glad you said that.
Zilla?
That reminded me of something. Sorry. I wanted to bring this up.
So violent.
Because there is a lot. I gotta find this. Oh, here it is. This was on IMDb in the facts section, and I'll tell you what, man. We talk about a lot of things like missed opportunities and what could have been and all this stuff. There was a really missed opportunity here, and I got to read this like one thing from IMDb about in the facts section, which I'm sure if you guys read the IMDb,
I did not.
facts,
I haven't, but I hope it doesn't spoil the point I've been sitting on.
I don't think so, but I'll read this. So,
Spoiled.
shortly after this film's success, Obayashi proposed a story for what would have been the 16th Godzilla film. Had the film had been made, it would have used the same crew as this film. Godigio, the music, the band, who provided the music in this film, would have also done the soundtrack. This story included a pregnant Godzilla who died of diabetes, and whose body was turned into a spaceship. The newborn child would be reunited with its father, and they would have fought a female monster that shot fire from her breast. The story was discarded by Toho, I don't know why, and instead released as a short story. So I need to read the short story.
Shit.
Yeah.
But dude, yes, that would have been, oh man, that would have been awesome.
That would have injected some fresh blood into the Godzilla
So it
series.
seems like they continued their trend of just saying, you know what, let's try to stop coming up with like, stories that make sense. Let's just fuck this shit up and see where it takes us.
Like, just think of all, like, I don't know if for Godzilla fans or how much, but all the shit that Godzilla has been through to die of diabetes. and then her body being like used as a spaceship.
I mean, if we're being honest, it would be an American monster that would die of diabetes for a Japanese one.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
probably a
for
good
sure.
point.
Oh, this horrible monster that destroyed New York died of heart disease. Oh, how awful. But yeah, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I would have.
How would they have diagnosed that Godzilla died? Would they have done a Godzilla autopsy?
They would have had to. I mean, you have this specimen laid out that has just caused so much destruction or been involved in so much destruction. You want to know more about it. You're taking blood samples. They're in the lab. One looks at the other one. They take their mask off and they're like, it was diabetes. Like...
And it's Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's playing the doctor.
Yeah. But it's just like real slim, feminine looking.
They brought in an American scientist.
Well, doctor?
Yeah.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Diabetes.
yeah, that'd be great.
That's it.
The prognosis.
It was diabetes.
Yeah, but dude,
diabetes.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah. That would have been fucking something. That's for sure. I want to read this short story. God damn it.
Me too. I'm so glad that I didn't miss that because I meant to write that down when I got here and I didn't. So.
All right, so let's rate this thing. So,
Word.
Justin, I'll give you the call since this was your selection. If you want to go first or you want to defer.
I'll go first. Okay, I'll go first. I don't, because you guys know I don't like rating things. I don't I have no real scale. I kind of just throw a rough number out. And this particular movie, I feel like is really hard to rate. But I will give it
3.
I'll give it a 9 on the nose.
Woo! Wow.
This is my personal, like if I had a collection of movies at my house, which I do, and I was showing someone, they're like, all right, put these in order of like your favorite to least favorite or something. This would definitely fall, like 10 being the best, you know, everyone knows how that scale works.
Yeah.
No, explain it.
It is a scale. I don't know that I did it. A scale of 1 to 10 MacGuffins, 10 being the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on.
Thank you. This would be in my collection towards the 10 side.
Okay.
Nice.
So that's how I'm basing this, Mike.
Oh, I don't want to.
Here, I'll go next.
Other Mike?
I'll go next.
I was kidding. I'm ready.
No, too late. I'm going to. This is again another one where Justin, you have brought some films to the table here in the MacGuffin Guild that are not only films, they are literally works of art, and they inspire and deserve investigation and deep thought to try to gain an understanding. It's not just fluff. It's not just here's a movie, here's what happens, very basic, 3 parts. Blah. These are films that you have brought to me that I've never seen before that
Hey, he brought them to me too.
really involve like thinking, which is nice. It's nice to like watch a movie and be like, I have to learn more about. I don't like thinking. I have to learn more about the rationale behind what drove these decisions. This is one of those movies.
Okay.
So this rating that I'm giving it is based on that. Again, it's sort of deceiving because if you were to just, again, in a vacuum, just watch this movie, get no context, and then walk away and take it for what it is, it would hurt it.
Yeah.
But the more investigating and learning that you do, it brings the film up and it makes it stronger. So I give it a 2. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God damn. I thought you were serious.
No.
What the fuck?
No, I will say that I will give this one a 6.
Okay.
Because it's above average, but I just feel like I have to give it a 6.
No, I totally understand that. I think
Give
that's
it
a
whatever you
rational.
Because I do think that even though you could tell they had a blast with this, you could tell the filmmakers just went all in. Let's just throw it all at the wall. Let's use every ounce of experience and knowledge that we have. Even if it's not appropriate, let's do it. And you have to respect that. And I do respect that. So I think that counterbalances the fact with some of it was a little poorly done, but it's 1977. So was it poorly done or was it ahead of its time? It's kind of hard to say.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know.
But
I say my opinion. Well, I'll give you my opinion.
yeah, I think I'm happy with a 6. I think 6 is fair.
I think that's a fair. I think based on what I know about you and what you like and what you took out of this and everything, that's actually higher than I thought you'd give it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I think you broke that down pretty well.
It's my turn. Shut up.
No, go on.
I'm kidding.
Jeez.
Well, no, it's funny you used to say that because I was going to say something which encompasses you as well. So I was debating if I should wait until you
Encompass
give your,
me. I would love for you to encompass me.
This kind of goes back to something we started talking about before we even recorded. I think about like, kind of why we do this and what we get out of it, and like for people that don't know us, obviously, like we have a long history with each other. We were friends. I don't know how long you and Mike been friends since middle school or something,
3 weeks
junior
or
high
so.
or something. 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago I met him at work. No, yeah, I was 11?
It was like 5th grade. You moved here.
Yeah, something like that. So it's been a long
But
time.
I wasn't friends with you till like 6th grade. I
Sixth
knew who
grade.
you
Yeah, yeah,
were,
sixth
but
grade.
we weren't like friends until 6th grade. We became like bosom buddies.
Yeah, in 7th grade we weren't friends anymore.
No, we hated each other.
Yeah. and then-
Understandable.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, but it's been a long time. And then we got to know each other for a long time. We'd watch movies together. We talked about a lot of stuff. We had a lot of similarities. We had a lot of differences. Mm-hmm. But we always kind of like, for a long time, just always hung out, kind of sharing these differences, the similarities,
Lots of time and lots of basements.
Lots of time,
We bounced around basements.
Basement to basement.
Lots of
Holy
pizza,
shit.
lots of beer. But yeah, and then over the years as we became adults, we kind of didn't lose touch, but we kind of had our own lives. Kids, get married.
Jobs.
Yeah, jobs, we kind of split up. And now we're kind of like reconnecting and then revisiting these things and sharing things like we used to and introducing things and then like kind of like presenting pieces of yourself to each other
Yeah.
Yeah.
to digest and like in a very open environment where we can kind of take these things like
I can't wait to present some Michael Bay films.
I know I'm actually really excited about that because I don't watch a lot of I like The Rock. That was cool.
There's actually a couple I think you guys will like.
Yeah. But I mean, that's an aspect that you always you brought definitely aspects to the table where stuff maybe I wouldn't watch normally, and we watched it. Like even stuff we didn't release that we talked about. I was like blown away.
I won't make you guys watch the Transformers movies, but there are some other movies of his that might surprise you guys. I think.
Cool. Well, anyway, just my point being is was that loud?
Good God.
We'll handle that in post. I just liked it. I liked that. I think that rating pretty much sums up everything I just said about like what you like. Microphones.
Your kung fu over there?
It's about what you like based on what I like coming together. You taking the pieces you like, you putting that, and I think that's awesome.
I'm going to surprise you with mine.
Okay.
2.5. No, I'm kidding.
I liked how you used his gag and then put a half on there.
It's lazy.
Well, I said 3 for you.
It's very lazy.
Oh, yeah.
I did say 3 for him before you said 2. So actually, you stole.
All right, go on.
And I stole it back.
Fight it out.
I took it back.
Fight to the death.
On air. Here we go.
Yeah.
No, dude, I enjoyed this movie way more than I anticipated I would.
Are you based on watching the trailer? Or
I didn't watch the trailer. Just from I read a synopsis.
Okay.
Like a brief one, not the one that Pat read earlier from Amazon, but I read like a paragraph about it. I was like, it seems pretty standard. Nope.
Yeah, there was standard's not a word I would use for anything.
Not at all.
I don't think no.
But then again, coming from you, I was like, well, there's got to be a weird aspect to it because Justin usually brings as Pat, he brings you bring interesting films for sure.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
No, absolutely. Man, I really enjoyed this one, and I gotta definitely go higher than Pat. I'm gonna give it.
God, you don't gotta mean.
Yeah, well, fuck you, you lowball motherfucker. No, man, I'm bouncing around with my thoughts here. I'm gonna give it an 8.3.
Wow.
I really liked it.
Wow, I'm glad, man.
Visually, I thought it was great. And Pat touched this briefly.
I didn't touch anything.
Can't touch this. The fact that it's like ahead of its time. Holy shit! I feel this is like. Again, it doesn't feel like it was made in the 70s. It does not feel like it was a 70s film. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is ahead of its time for sure. I really enjoyed it.
So that is an average score of 7.77.
Wow.
Nice.
Lucky, that's the...
Oh, man. We hit the
slot
jackpot.
machines.
Yeah.
Well, here, I didn't know you would like it so much, so I present you with my Criterion Collection Blu-ray edition of House.
Why would you do that?
I'm not.
No, I was going to say.
No, I wanted you to put your hand out and I was going to snatch it away from him.
He
No,
almost took it.
Sarah would wipe my face.
Our overall average score since episode 1 Slaughter High is 7.31.
Oh, wow.
So
this broke out.
So we like movies.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we're in the higher end of things.
I got to give something a 2 next time.
So this is what I would like to do at
Pat's
this point.
pick, so
as you may know, if you've listened to previous episodes of the MacGuffin Guild, a MacGuffin is a plot device used to drive along a story in film and books. But we here at the MacGuffin Guild like to use the film itself as a MacGuffin to spark conversation. So, with that said, there is one thing that I wanted to bring up. We had touched on the atomic bomb and the impact of that, the pre-atomic bomb, post-atomic bomb, how younger generations don't understand how life and the population was altered in a blink of an eye. We touched on all of that, which is really intriguing stuff. But there's something that I picked up on as well, which might seem cliche, but I think there might be something to it. So I wanted your guys' thoughts on this. All right? And that is, if you think that the 7 girls represent the 7 deadly sins.
Wow, I don't think that ever crossed my mind.
So here's what I have.
Well, Mac would be gluttony.
That's the easy one.
Yeah.
So
Gorgeous would be pride.
got that one
Yeah.
knocked out. Actually, I had pride. Hold on. So here's what I have.
Call herself that, though.
I originally had pride for her, but I tweaked it. So Mac would be gluttony. Gorgeous would be envy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
Kung Fu would be wrath. Fantasy would be lust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet would be sloth. All she wanted was bedding, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prof would be pride. Very
Okay.
smart.
Yeah.
The only one that I question, and maybe you can help me connect the dots here, is melody and greed. I don't know if I can find a connection there. But the others seem to make sense, and I
Yeah.
felt like maybe there was something there.
There could be something there.
I can't really think of anything that wouldn't really be stretching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I could think of some things, but it's really like, I don't know. You think of like rock stars and stuff, like trying to like.
So
She doesn't have a rock star
originally
vibe. She has a musician.
too. I mean, you could tweak it this way. You could say like melody is envy. Wasn't she the one that was asking all? She was a musician, obviously, asking about the piano teacher. And
Yeah.
maybe she was a bit envious of her abilities. And gorgeous, in return, could be. We could shift her to pride, and prof could be greed. But then again, I don't know if that works either. But anyway, I don't know. I was right there. I was like one away from having this all kind of fall into place.
It's like a little puzzle where you move a piece and slide another piece around, but then there's one piece missing. You're like, fuck, this never.
Yeah.
You're like, you'll never
Exactly.
end. Yeah.
But I thought that was a really interesting concept, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was something to that. Because anytime I see anything with the number 7 in it, that's my mind automatically goes there.
There could definitely be it could be like an influence, like kind of at least somewhat modeled after that, but with some creative license.
Yeah, I also notice sometimes they have like some things aren't like on the nose. One thing I think about always drives me nuts, and I need to look more into it. But the Rhyme the Ancient Mariner, which I know growing up from the Iron Maiden song, and then later found the literature, which I don't think I ever read.
Oh, I read it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
but it's like
years and years ago, like 20 years ago.
But he's playing dice with life and death, correct?
Dude, I don't remember. It's like been 20 years.
Yeah, I think they're gambling. It's not life and death. It's something like life and death.
Okay.
Like one represents life and the other one represents life and death. So I feel like it's a similar like it's almost what we're used to, like life and death, but it's a little. I have to look at it.
Like tweaked a little bit.
Yeah. So what I did like as well is, even if it wasn't a 7 deadly sin aspect per se, I still enjoyed how each of these characters, these stereotypical characters, were killed in a way that matched their personalities.
Yeah.
Mac was, the watermelon, the well, and, still got one last bite in even after decapitation.
Who'd she bite?
She bit Fantasy's butt.
Yeah, it was Fantasy.
And then Melody, obviously, in the piano.
Yep.
Kung Fu got in a fight with a lamp or a chandelier. And then Sweet was killed. Again, she was looking for the bedding and the mattresses and whatnot. Killed there. But see, yeah, that's why I thought maybe originally I had Sweet down as lust, because I was like, maybe she was like supposed to be like was she a slut or something? Was she the one that, like, I didn't know if there was something to her character that I may have missed.
No,
that maybe because when they found her when they went to the mattresses and the bedding and they found her clothes around, I was like, what is that supposed to?
But that was
represent?
a very common theme with all of them, because it showed them being stripped of.
Oh, okay.
I think.
What I read was she was called Sweet just because she was sweet. She was just nice.
Okay.
I wonder if she would be envy. Just because, do you remember when the mattress fall on her, she's looking at that doll?
Yeah.
And then when they find her, she's now the doll?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I mean,
continue.
I wonder if that would help. So if she's envy, nah, I still think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was a really
guys at
intriguing
home, hit us up on social media if you think you can decipher if they are the
if
7
you
deadly
think
sins.
yeah, that would be cool. I'd love to hear any
Let's-
interpretations out there.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, any final thoughts, Justin?
I'm looking at this Ryman Agent Mariner thing. I think I was way off. Sarah's my brain. I can't think of anything. When
I was way off.
I'm looking at. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, I feel like there's some parallel with like certain things translating differently, where it's not exactly the way it was. But
All right. Well, I think I got all my points out. This was a fun movie because it's nice to shuffle the deck every now and then and not just get like a standard movie.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
It's nice to go on a ride sometimes. And with you, Justin, I've been going on a ride pretty much every third week.
Yeah,
so that's been nice.
I was looking at my next couple. I have an idea. I was like, ooh, this is going to be...
Of course, to those at home, we've kind of been shuffling them around and release...
Yeah, release order.
Release order, yeah. So...
But we work a pretty steady rotation of, just... taking a turn every third week, picking a film. So.
Yeah,
but as you hear them, they may not be in that particular order.
Yeah, because I think someone on Instagram asked how we take, and that's basically how we do it. Like each week, someone just picks something that had some kind of impact or something,
and then the next week, the next person picks, and then we just go round robin or whatever you want to say.
All right. Well,
Justin, you got anything else?
Nah.
Are you going to take us down a rabbit hole?
Oh man, that was
you are.
I knew it.
I'm not going to. That's right.
See, Mike was sensing something. Yeah. What's your point that I shut you off of earlier?
It's fine. I was going to say there's a bunch of stuff on YouTube about this. A couple.
I'll have to watch that.
And I don't. And I'm sorry.
I have to watch that YouTube.
Yeah. You have
I have to watch some.
All of it.
I'll have to go on there and look up some stuff for House.
Are you familiar with the YouTubes?
Nah, explain it.
Yeah, I apologize to these guys in advance because I don't remember which video is which or whatever. But there was one named Full Fantastic. I'm sure if you look up Full Fantastic and House, you'll find it. I think that's the one where he gave a lot of really insightful things that I didn't pick up. There's another one named Professor Jokington, and his was really good. Actually, I laughed out loud a couple of times, like watching his, because it was called like "Why This Is the Worst Movie Ever." And I generally, I hate YouTube personalities and stuff like that. I don't hate them.
A lot of times that's clickbait, though. They're not actually going to say it's bad.
No, that wasn't his point, but he was kind of playing it off as someone, and it's like, it's awful because of this, but he's really telling you why it's awesome. But he was really funny. Like, I thought he was a really good, funny, like, YouTube personality, and I actually legitimately laughed a couple times at his points.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's countless other ones if you look it up. There's a video where Bill Hader, if you know him from like Saturday Night Live, is showing like movies he's picking up. He's like, oh, I love this movie, and he picks up House.
Oh no shit!
He's like, oh yeah, and he unzips his hoodie and he's wearing a House shirt.
No shit!
Yeah,
I've always liked Bill Hader.
Yeah, Bill Hader's great.
He's
man.
cool. He's cool.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
His impressions are personal.
Oh hell yeah!
Was he in It?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is funny because I didn't see It Part 2, and I saw my niece the other day, and she's like, have you seen It Chapter 2? And I was like, nah, I didn't really like the first one, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But she got talking about it. She's like, yeah, there's one Richie, and he's a comedian and stuff like that, and he's like, oh, it reminded me of you so much, and he wears glasses and stuff. And she's saying, I'm like, oh, what? I have to see this, and she showed me a clip. I was like, oh shit, that's Bill Hader.
Yeah.
And she didn't realize this, but that was one of the biggest compliments I ever got in my life.
Right.
That she compared
That's
me to
awesome.
Bill Hader. It's
Bill
like,
Hader's cool, and he seems like a general impression. He seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Like.
No, but that's neat.
she's completely off her rocker.
I like,
I
I like when that stuff happens, though. That's neat that your niece associated you with someone that, it's a compliment.
Yeah, it
and
was
she doesn't
huge.
realize
Yeah, sure.
the impact. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I get Pauly Shore all the time.
Yeah. And Marty Feldman.
I get that. I get that a lot. Or mixed.
Yeah. If Pauly Shore and Marty Feldman had a baby, it would be Mike.
Yeah.
Maybe they did, and maybe I am he.
Yeah.
And to be clear, Marty Feldman is not the guitar player for Megadeth.
Oh, no. No, not that one.
We went through that before.
Yeah.
I always get that mixed up in my head
Jeez.
when they couldn't be any more different. All right.
They're two peas in a pod.
All right. Well, if that is everything, then I think we should shut her down.
Yeah. Go down the rabbit hole, watch it, have fun, explore.
Yeah, and we want to hear from you too, because this is a type of film that we need. You could see even now, like, there's no closure.
Yeah,
there's so much to break into here, and
oh yeah, we could have made this like 6 hours long.
Yeah. So I would love to hear any interpretations that you pick up on or things that we may have missed. Definitely hit us up. That's what this is all about.
Give us like your opinions and things that you pick up. That like you said, like things we may have missed or gotten completely off base with.
I'm glad that Mike reiterated the exact sentence that I just said.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
Mike added a 0.5 to it.
Mike is doing with my previous sentence what I hope the listeners do with my previous sentence, which is tell us anything that I may have missed. Mike, did I miss anything? Anyway, no, thank you so much for joining us. It means a lot. Anytime that you're listening to this point in an episode is always an honor, and it means a lot to us. And we're glad that you're here and part of the guild. So with that said, Justin, Mike, always a pleasure. Thank you, as always. And we'll see you next week. Anybody?
Bye? No,
Domo gato gozaimasu?
Does that mean something?
Isn't that
Domo.
Thank you very much?
Oh, is it? Is it? I don't know. Let us know at home.
Someone will let me know if it's wrong. So.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.
I raised you better than this.
But I know I love you.
You guys need a moment?
That ended up so much better than I anticipated.